Sudan, the largest country in Africa. It spans the Sahara in the north and the savanna and wetlands of the south. It is rich in diversity of both lands and peoples. A fertile land fed by the Nile, a rich land in minerals and oil, a land of many beauties and many contrasts. This is Sheikh Hassan al-TURABI, the real powerhead in Sudan. He has established himself as the new godfather of Islamic terrorism.
I have no doubt that the Islamic movement now is a strong movement of revival right across this world, everywhere. And I'm sure that those who are in power would like to stop this movement or have no future whatever.
Sudan, a land of contrasts. Though rich, it is poor. Though fertile and watered, it suffers the world's greatest famine. It is the crossroad between the Arab world and Black Africa, a land torn with a struggle between Arab cultural imperialism and native African cultures. The front line of Islamic expansion into Africa and the resistance of the fastest growing church in Africa. This is the story of this besieged church and its hidden Holocaust. The Christian church in Sudan started with the conversion of the treasurer of Queen Candace at the preaching of the Apostle Philip. In 300 years, there were 3 Christian kingdoms within Sudan. The church grew and remained strong for centuries, in spite of Arab invasions which brought Islamic domination to the north of Sudan. After centuries of resisting Islam's southerly expansion, the Christians still occupy and control the African territories of the South and Central Nuba Mountains, much to the Islamic government's indignation. In recent decades, the church has experienced tremendous revivals and today is one of the fastest growing churches in the world, with over 2 million evangelical Christians standing firm within this radical Islamic nation. A recent peace between the Muslim North and largely Christian South was shattered in 1983 when an Islamic government took power. The Constitution was rewritten based on Sharia or Islamic law and with an emphasis on the military. These soldiers are swearing their allegiance to the Quran. The government engaged in a massive military buildup. Policies of forced Arabization and Islamization were established, and jihad, or holy war, was declared on the infidels, meaning primarily the Christians.
Here in the Sudan, there is a whole movement for Islam here. Thousands and thousands, of young, they don't mind fighting. They go and die. They're graduates, doctors of law and of engineering. They don't mind doing anything, for Islam.
This Islamic revival is only meeting the natural wishes of the Sudanese and enhancing their link to Allah. Sudan will carry the torch of Islam to all countries, including your own. Already, Sudan has waged an aggressive campaign for spreading Islamic rule to both its Arab and African neighbors.
The ultimate goal of the Sudan government, if they can crush any resistance in Sudan, the next program will be these neighboring countries where they would like to see Islamic State in all these countries.
Eritrea is a non-religious country bordering Sudan on the east. It is, however, under continuous attacks by Eritrean Muslim militants based in Sudan who seek to overthrow the government for Islam.
They are doing the same in Ethiopia, in Kenya, and in Uganda, and in the north, of course, you have Egypt. So the plan is a total plan for the whole region.
Sudan's plans to Islamize all of Africa and the Middle East are evident in its many acts of subversion and terrorism throughout the region. And already its long arm of terror has reached numerous nations around the world. The failed assassination attempt on Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak in Ethiopia was yet another effort by Sudan to spread Islamic rule to its neighbors. These three captured terrorists were headquartered, supplied, and trained in Sudan.
We know, on the basis of the evidence, that the security establishment at the very highest level was involved.
Who do you mean? Up to who?
Up to TURABI himself.
Mr. President, the terrorist attack on President Hosni Mubarak was carried out by Egyptian nationals who had used Khartoum as a base of operations for more than 2 years while planning this act. If it had succeeded, it would have undermined the peace and stability of the North African and Middle East regions.
Seen by Islamic fundamentalists as the Great Satan, America is a prime target of their terrorists. FBI surveillance of this Sudanese terrorist ring, seen here mixing explosives, foiled an attempt to simultaneously blow up the UN building, bridges, skyscrapers, and this tunnel in New York.
I think the bomb blast in Nairobi and Dar es Salaam at the American embassies and at Planet Hollywood restaurant in Cape Town remind us of the fact that the threat of Islam, radical Islamic terrorism, is not only for the Christians in Sudan and other Muslim countries, but it can spill over the borders very easily, and it can even affect Christians in South Africa and America directly.
But the greatest campaign of coercion and terror has been waged within Sudan against the Christians and other groups who do not bow to Islam. Most are the Africans of the south and the mountainous Nuba region in central Sudan.
If people would understand what the Quran teaches in Holy War, they would be horrified. The Quran actually teaches its adherents to kill and to slay, to enslave, to beleaguer, to deceive, to annihilate, to crucify, to mutilate, or to drive into exile all enemies of Islam. It tells them to even kill the people of the book, that's the Christians.
If they refuse to be Muslims, then they kill you. If you're working in the government also, they purge you. They send you out of the work so that you suffer more. They deny you food. They deny your children food. So that this is means and ways of forcing you to come and say, okay, I'll be a Muslim, in order just to receive food so that your children survive. So this is how it is humiliation more than even torture. It is human humiliation for human dignity itself. So people are suffering. People are suffering a lot.